Right. It actually does.
That, now we are live, we are recording. Make sure I see. That's,
How do you know if the sound's working?
cool.
Oh, it's not showing that. What if you didn't need a towel? Oh, okay.
Hello? Hello? I turned it off on that too.
Let's see.
It's the power cord or the connecting cable got bent, so it's like.
I might have another one in my car. You want me to just go see if it's in there? Yeah, I'll go real quick.
Oh. And it's saying that I'm speaking.
Hmm.
That's it. Speaker seem to be coming out of there. Probably this is. Business turned in.
Yeah.
Test. Test. Yeah.
Hmm.
Come again.
No. The stairs.
The stairs coming. Oh.
Yeah, just when you go in, the door goes right.
Oh.
They're right around here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hey,
Not that it makes a great deal of difference.
That's funny. How many times have you been in this building?
I don't know,
So
30.
the camera's working, it's just the speakers don't wanna.
I guess I've been here a lot more.
We usually have been doing it like with these things, haven't we? Or I don't know.
Thanks.
Okay.
Back in the good old days, you had to attend the BOT meetings in person, you know?
Oh, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Rich.
Nice to meet you.
Seeing.
We talked about our next month.
Yes. Both 2 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
December too.
Every year.
in December, it's the day after Christmas, but people probably be out of town with their families and stuff, so.
Mhm.
We should at least talk
Yeah,
about it. If
but-
the date might still be
But
okay,
next month,
but
there's no way.
no. And this happens every year.
Yeah.
Because Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday.
Probably on the fourth. Makes sense.
I can't remember what we did last week.
I think we met the week after, because there was like 5 weeks in November.
Okay.
But we could meet the week before, we could meet on Tuesday instead of Thursday. I mean, it kind of depends on
Yeah.
town too, and what they can
Yeah,
facilitate.
it looks like the 14th of November, which is Thursday. 12th of November, which is Tuesday.
Is anyone else like?
I can go in, that would be helpful.
I know
That's
that
what I see. Yeah.
Ty has to connect from online. He got stuck with the kids tonight, so he's at home. And then I think Jack was a maybe online.
I've got mine. Let me see if you can.
Can't believe how fast. Schlepping them out there.
I'm so excited.
I go by there maybe
I'm not
5
getting it.
times a week on foot.
Mm-hmm,
Just to watch it every day. It's really impressive.
yeah.
Do you want to try to run it off my webcam and see if the mic on that works?
It's just the speakers coming out.
I'm not picking you up either.
Can't wait till we get that.
All right. Wait.
that you sent me was actually is that
That's feedback effect. All better.
Keep me in the meetings.
no, oh no, it's connected. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
Okay, yeah, it's just this computer, I think.
Okay, and then we can just live stream on that
Yeah,
computer. Okay.
yeah, I have the live stream already going.
So it's working?
Yep.
So we should be able to hear people talking out of it?
Yes.
Should we test that?
Yeah, if you wanna.
Can somebody say something?
I only have,
I think we need someone to,
Is there nobody there?
I only have us.
yeah.
Okay, so no one's in the meeting
One of
yet?
us. It would, well, I mean, we were talking and it came through your
Okay.
Yeah.
computer,
So you
right?
guys still
So,
have, what's quorum? Is 4 quorum?
4.
And Ty is supposed to be joining us online. He said
You've
he
got a
had
couple
the link.
Yeah.
Well,
start at 6:45.
6:45. 6 minutes ago.
What,
Yeah.
Ty says he's on and he's waiting for the host to join.
oh,
So
is he on the right?
coming out of there. Let's see. Sent him a request to join.
If he has the right link.
He
Yeah.
might be
He
trying.
said he pulled something out of his email.
It's not the WebEx one, if he's trying that one.
Yeah, I mean, I sent the same.
We just changed it, so he may have just grabbed the wrong thing. I'm just gonna send him a link right here.
this sad?
Yes,
It is.
Yes. Let's sleep in a person.
welcome.
Trying.
Looks like there's a treatment over there.
Oh, that's also treatment.
Yeah, I'm not sitting around just trying to help work out these tired.
Are we online?
We are, but we're having some sound issues, it sounds like. We might still be having sound issues.
I mean, it's showing on here that
Okay,
it's working. It's
I guess we have to
still
need
online, but
someone to try and talk and see if we're from
yeah. Wait,
elsewhere.
John, could you unmute or put your mic volume up, I think?
Just try.
So I think, does someone have their sound on their computer?
Oh, it's
It'll
filtered
come, it'll come
now.
out of this guy.
Yeah, but it was like, it sounded like there
We were
was
just-
an echo or something.
We were just testing.
That's because,
Okay,
it was going.
got it.
Yeah, because
So it should be good to go. Whenever Aaron gets on, he should be able to hear all of y'all and you should be able to hear him.
And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 SAB members now.
Yeah.
So we can call to order at 6:54 PM.
okay.
Right.
And we're recording?
Yep, you're recording, you're live streaming, all good.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
All right, well, have a good meeting, everybody.
Thanks.
All right, well, the first thing on the agenda is to touch on our goals as we go into 2025, and then also just to bring everyone up to speed of where we're at. I don't have the dashboard open.
Since I don't know everyone's names yet.
Oh, yes,
for the roll
introduction,
call.
please.
Yeah.
I am Melody Baumhover. I'm the chair of SAB, and have been for a while. And tonight we're going to vote on hopefully maybe a new chair. Maybe, if anybody's interested. My degree is in environmental studies, liberal arts with a focus on environmental education as well as policy. So that's kind of my background and why I'm here.
Yeah, Maddie, I've been on SAP for about a little over a year, I think. And in my professional life, I work as a sustainability manager and kind of operations project coordinator, in like engineering and natural resources consulting. Not an engineer though.
I'm Rich. I have a degree in environment, they called it environmental conservation back in the dark ages at CU. And I don't think they call it that anymore. In fact, I think they have a department now. We didn't even have our own department. It was part of the geography department. Anyway, I also have an extensive experience in government and coach, and I've been on the SAB for 2.5 years or so.
Kai is also online, I think. That's what I
Yes.
put.
Would you like me to introduce myself or does someone else need to go first?
Okay, yeah, Ty, go ahead.
I'm Aaron Ty. I'm the liaison from the Board of Trustees on SAB. If I told you everything I do for work, the meeting would be over before we got to chance to talk about anything. So.
Yeah, and I'm Jack Kirby-Miller. I joined SAB in June meeting, and my educational background was environmental chemistry, and then focused on energy, and I work in like clean energy finance right now.
Awesome.
Although I'm between jobs right now, so yeah. But that's what I do professionally.
Great. It's nice to meet you all in person and online. I'm Cass. I sent a little bit about myself in an email, but just to, I guess, remind you, I studied at the Colorado School of Mines. I got a bachelor's and master's in geological engineering. And then I did an AmeriCorps fellowship in Grand Junction with the city, working with their sustainability coordinator. And some of the things we did while I was there was they had their sustainability and adaptation plan adopted. So I got to kind of go through that process, which was very eye-opening. And then worked with some volunteers on a heat mapping project, as well as some other composting and recycling projects as well. Yeah, and I realized that I really loved working in local government and thought that I could make a difference. So that's why I'm here. John, do you want to?
Yeah, I'm John. I'm the town administrator. I'm relatively new as well. I've been here since July, but it's nice to see you guys all here, and I appreciate you guys doing this tonight.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for anybody?
Can I make a suggestion regarding the agenda?
Yeah.
I suggest that we move the, excuse me, selection of board elections to the first thing on the agenda, simply because that way we can have a secretary appointed, and the secretary, if they're going to be the new secretary, may want to keep minutes of the rest of the meeting.
I started some for
You
this.
started some, okay, are you nominating yourself to be secretary?
She has
No, I
been the
think I-
Yeah, I know.
secretary until we
But then-
appointed somebody, so
Okay.
she's
Yeah,
on task.
She's on task, never mind, then I withdraw my suggestion.
Great.
but then I missed some meetings, so there are missing minutes.
They're recorded in the,
Yeah.
in the ether webs. So do we want to talk about our goals then? So right now our top 3 goals is, the 100% renewable electricity for Nederland by 2025. Second one is improve the diversion rate at the transfer station, improve on zero waste. And then third is promote EV use and accessibility. And then we have 6, looks like 6 other list items down there that are kind of lesser priority because a lot of them are ongoing stuff. Getting 100% renewable electricity for businesses has always been a challenge because the programs out there to get businesses on board isn't as easy as, say, signing up residents for a solar garden. Supporting local producers of food and the farmers market and those kind of things. Participating there, the zero waste subcommittee, sometimes volunteers at the farmers market, Net Jazz Wine. I know I volunteer for a couple other events in town to help with zero waste at those events. Watershed health, monitoring and protecting the watershed, kind of working on this Guardians idea that we've got. Generally increasing town density, priority, and infill when we're talking about new developments going on, making sure we advocate for that, improving energy efficiency, weatherization of homes. And then we have wanted to look at creating a climate action plan. We did a sustainability action plan in 2014.
For my time.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I'm looking at you. I think it was 2014. So 10 years ago. And kind of that next step is more so than just sustainability, but resilience, and especially when addressing climate change. So I guess first off, how do people feel about those top 3 goals that we have?
Sounds good to me.
We're still moving forward on that. I think one thing we need to look at now that we have a new sustainability coordinator is our solar garden and what we're gonna do with that.
Do we have,
How do we get?
do we
more
have a
people signed up?
program right now? I mean, because I thought we didn't,
I don't think so,
yeah.
but I don't know.
The problem was, to me, was getting people in this town interested in participating.
Yeah.
You can lead a horse to water, right? As the saying goes. And we, I think, made a lot of efforts to do that, but really very few people wanted to take a drink.
Mhm.
And I think it's really hard to get through to people on something like this, especially when the personal benefit is really small. I think that, like, talking like maybe it would save like $5 in a year or something like that. And then also when the administrative burden was kind of big, right?
I think that
Yeah.
was a big
Yeah,
hurdle.
so to me, you know, this whole thing where you get like two separate electric bills, and then you have a credit card to do one thing, and they each pay each other, and,
Oh, no.
yeah, it's really, it's almost like you would design it to be the most cumbersome thing possible.
Yeah,
And there's a reason for it, and I understand the reason for it is apparently Excel can't do it themselves, right? It has to be another company. So they can't do it through just the Excel billing system, like you do if you have home solar and you're on the net metering plan, which I have, and that is no problem, right? At all. But this one was, if we're gonna have it again where people have the two bills and then you have to like call them, and it was like really, really burdensome. And I signed up for it. And I was willing to do it, and then I got solar. But if we're gonna do that again, I just think it's not gonna work. It has to be something different.
yeah, and it's so interesting because the Energy Outreach Office was working with the same company, right? And I signed up through them, and I get a huge savings. I mean, I think it's the income cap is 80% of median income, and you can still qualify for it. So it would be, I think, be a significant number of people. And my electricity bill through the summer was like $30. So there was a significant savings. And I don't get two bills, but it was burdensome to sign up initially. It was like a month and a half long process. And then there was like back and forth and delays on the garden going online, and delays and delays and delays. And it wasn't until maybe April of this year that I started seeing credits.
So, okay. So this is like not just standard community solar, it's like a actual development.
So the way it works is a company, call them Company X or whatever, is the one that was available to everybody in the town.
Yeah.
Company X develops a solar power plant somewhere, probably on the Eastern Plains or somewhere like that, where it's nice and flat and they can get good coverage the whole year, right? And then they essentially, you're part of that, right? So think of you're like not an owner, but you're a percentage participant in this thing. So then they like sell that energy to Excel, and it's almost kind of like having a form of net metering where the energy that comes from that is going to be credited partially to you and sold to Excel. And then that's why the bills sort of go back and forth. That's essentially it.
Okay.
Excel couldn't do that themselves, so
There-
you had to deal with the two entities.
My understanding from the discussions that we had, and I'm not by no means an expert
Yeah.
on this, so I don't want you to think that I'm like speaking authoritatively or something
Yeah.
like that. My understanding from the discussions that we had was that Excel is prohibited by something from doing this themselves. It seems to me it should be like encouraged for Excel to be doing something like this, but they're not. So it has to be a third party. And that third party is not going to be part of Excel's accounting system. Now, the one that you're doing through like a state program is probably a little different, but that's not what we were doing.
But they were working with
Yeah.
the same solar provider. So
Yeah.
when we went with US Solar, they were working with US
Yeah.
Solar. And then when we fired US Solar, it was because they fired
Yeah.
US Solar.
And then we went with another one.
Someone else.
I can't
Yes.
remember what the other one was called.
No, but that's who
Yeah.
I'm getting my solar through right
Yeah.
now. Is that company that was
Yeah.
working with us at some point. And I don't know if we just timed out of not being able to subscribe anymore, but I'm looking at the Energy Outreach Office and theirs is still open. We could still promote theirs, and every time I've emailed them for like, what are the numbers for 80466 zip code that are subscribed, they'll tell us. That's just kind of the burden and data reporting and getting that into our.
I'm all in favor of doing that. It's just, we tried like things in the Mountaineer. We tried individual little postcards to everybody at the post office.
Yep,
I
it was
think,
in
weren't
the
you doing something at the
newsletter.
farmer's market to reach out or something?
I don't
Okay. It was just, no matter what we did, no one really seemed all that interested in signing up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear, I mean, there's often like in solar, there's a lot of distrust of the purveyors,
Yeah.
which like,
Well, it did feel, just, if I were not on the SAB and didn't have all the information, I think I would have felt it was a little scammy. It just sort of has that sort of feel to it.
Did you guys try in-person community engagement like here, like as a more like a community forum than like a outreach at a place like the Harvest Festival
No.
or something like that, or?
Not here specifically, but we did do an event at Wild Bear in conjunction with Wild Bear because they can pull an audience. And tried that. We went up to the school PTA fair or whatever. I know I walked around there, passed out flyers to people, talked to people about the program. A lot of people were skeptical of like, really, all I have to do is like sign up for this and I'll save 5%. Like, there's got to be a catch somewhere. You know what's going on. And I kind of had to ease them into that. And I think there was a lot of distrust too when you get on the form, because it's very like, they don't know who you are. They ask what state you live in,
Yeah.
because Excel has multiple territories that it provides services. So you're like talking to this local person who's giving you a QR thing, and then you scan the QR code and they ask, what state are you in? Colorado, Texas, you know? And people were just like immediately there, clicked out.
And then you couldn't just sign up for it online, which to me was, I mean, that's what everybody does these days. That's how, they're like, no, you have to have a phone call.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you have to have a phone call. And I had the phone call and it was fine. There was nothing wrong with the phone call.
Yeah.
But people don't want to do that. I mean,
Yeah, if you could just upload the form.
Yeah.
Fill out the information they need, you know, that ease of getting in there.
it should be no more difficult really than buying something on Amazon or just signing up for Excel to begin with.
Transferring your electric bill.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Well, and so, you know, I think part of that is part of this goal too, that we should talk about is like, okay, so the solar garden wasn't helpful, but we still have a gap here to get to 100% renewable electricity. And we're in October of 2024. What do we do to try to at least close that gap a little bit, if not reach that goal? I mean, we're not going to reach it with businesses. I think we know that, but as far as residential.
do we have any information from permits in the town, like of how many people have applied for solar permits as well in the last year? Like, that would be interesting to see the trend.
Yeah.
I feel like I hear people talking about it way more in the last 6 months than.
Yeah, so we have the number of permits and kind of where they're at in the process. And then we also, from Excel, can get the number of people who have put in solar, because they track that. They don't track the capacity of it, but they do track the number. So that would likely be on the community.
They track it as long as it's on grid.
So they track how much energy they're buying.
Yeah.
So then we would have to determine if it's going through Excel or if it's not.
Everything behind the meter, they don't.
Yeah, and so on the dashboard that's linked on the agenda next from Excel, it looks like we had no increase in regular solar rewards. We had one person
You're on page
do non-solar net metering yet, and 2 extra people from 2022 to 2023 doing solar rewards.
Solar rewards is what they're calling, because net
Mhm.
metering, it's
Mhm.
not, okay,
Yeah, solar rewards.
yeah. But I've seen a bunch of people, including me, installing solar on their houses, although mine was last year.
So we have to wait till
Had a
that
lot of
year.
permits for solar too.
Yeah,
So we
Britt
wait
and
till
I
the
have been
year
talking
closes
about
to
going
get
through
this.
those.
Oh,
I think so.
okay, that makes sense.
And we get this too from Partners in Energy. We don't get this from Excel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Partners in Energy is their own organization that helps with all this data and is able to pull it out.
They came to our meeting last year. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you guys pulled permits for 2024, we could kind of get a sense maybe of how much has been added this year.
What is a little curious to me in terms of hitting 100%? I assume that's the 100% that's net renewable, is you would, like, the basic concept is you would need 100% participation to get to 100% renewable?
So,
Not necessarily.
we had, a capstone group in 2019 that, did a lot of work for us from CU, the Sustainability Masters Program. And basically, the way we decided to calculate it based on, they did a whole values process even to figure out how we were gonna deal with this. Because we weren't like just wanting to buy carbon credits to get to 100 to offset whatever, that wasn't the way we wanted to go. We wanted to put new renewable energy on the grid as locally as possible. And so our idea was to get to 100 and kind of have this goal is that we're gonna account for the renewable that is on the grid from Xcel, because we have an MOU with them to work towards 100% renewable electricity. They are heading that way, right? They're just gonna get there a little bit after 2025. And so we were gonna account for that gap between what the grid is renewable and what we can provide here to
Right.
reach 100.
Okay.
And Partners in Energy did do a gap analysis in 2023.
Yes.
I just had a meeting with them yesterday.
Awesome.
And they have us at 51% from their calculations in 2022.
Yes, that's right. That's what happened with that one, though. They didn't calculate it the same way we do.
Right, yeah. So that's the differences between the tool that CU Boulder and that course created, right? And then the way that Xcel is doing it. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, because Xcel says that we're not 100% unless we have all the recs to say that we are.
Hmm.
And we're like, recs are not the point.
The reason you can have 100% with less than 100% participation is some people will generate a surplus. So
Yeah.
I generate a surplus, and I actually now have to figure out ways to use electricity to use my little bank of credit. So
Well, and right now, I'm actually signed up for Renewable Connect and the Solar Garden. So I'm paying for like 110% solar energy for my home, even though I'm just one person.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome that you're overproducing.
well, that was, yeah, even with an electric car, I overproduced.
Yeah.
But now I have like a $450 credit for electricity, and I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, I'm gonna have to buy some electric heaters and use them instead of gas. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna recommend some Bitcoin mining or
I looked in-
hydrogen
I looked into
generator.
that, but I'm not, I'm not a Bitcoin mining kind of guy. So.
I can appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Did you look into at all, like where we're at with the solar garden, where all that left out at? Or left off at?
I have not gotten that far
Okay.
with the solar garden yet. Yeah, I was going through the tool created by the CU Boulder team, and then
Mhm.
also through Excel's data just to see where it aligned and didn't. And then, yeah, talking with Britt about the individual solar panels. So I can put that on my to-do list to look into the solar garden. And wasn't it in 2018 that the town facilities were subscribed to a solar garden? Is that, I read that.
Yeah, we have a contract for like, was it 20 years? Oakleaf Solar. So the
Okay.
municipality was 100% renewable. I
Mhm.
believe in the last couple of years, we're using now more energy than what
Okay.
we've actually paid for on the subscription.
Mm.
So we might not be 100 anymore.
Okay.
And then that contract runs out at some point, and when it
Mhm.
does, town has another decision to make.
Mhm.
So it sounds like we like to move towards that 100. It sounds like with the way we're calculating it, given Excel's energy mix, and we're just trying to make up the difference that
Yeah,
Just
obviously,
increasing participation could get us there in a reasonable, like,
and
at some point.
at some point, and based on past experience, it's gonna be extremely difficult to get it through one of these community solar gardens.
Yeah,
I'm not saying we shouldn't try. It's just-
Yeah,
it sounds like we should maybe look at other options or offerings that would like meet that expectation around solar gardens or like,
yeah, so I mean, there's certain legislative hurdles. One thing that did open up is we can now purchase solar from other counties. It used to be you could only do it if you were touching county. Now we can go through the whole state. So it has opened up a little bit, but it's still tough. And we need, if we're doing something like that, we need the grant and we need the town government to somehow orchestrate that. And we don't have a power utility as a town, you know, it's all through Excel. And so any solar garden project has to get approved and stamped by Excel through the PUC, and go through all those regulatory hurdles.
Has anyone from the town been in contact with Dr. Cobb in regard to the grant, like the climate grant?
The Furban one or the one that we have, the older one?
No, they just got, what is it called? In July, Dr. Cobb was awarded 199 million from the Environmental Protection Agency for Climate Pollution Reduction Grant Program.
Yep.
And they have like the 5 programs.
We talked to them about it a little bit, but they haven't rolled out things yet, I think.
Yeah,
There's also the Furban program, which is like the electrification program, and that's just starting to roll out. And they're kind of, I think the heat pump stuff will be out like in January-ish.
I wonder if with this new grant, if there's any, like, I know they're still developing the RFPs and stuff. I was just looking back at the slides from last week.
We have talked to them. I don't have any updates about it, but I can get you in touch with their people.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be good to get in touch with them, especially because they're like in the early stages of it and I feel like they're asking a lot of questions about like what people want out of it. So it could be interesting. And I can forward you the slides from a presentation last week.
That would be great. Yeah, thank you.
It sounds like we don't quite have an option for like alternatives to a solar garden, but we want to keep exploring them.
Absolutely.
have we been promoting like home solar installations or?
I mean, I don't know what we can do to really do it. It's obviously either you pay a lot of money or you incur a debt or you have someone else owning stuff on top of your house.
So there's a program that I just learned about that's actually, it's coming to an end now, but the next round is in March of next year. It's called Solar Switch, and they're supposed to like help you through that entire process of getting solar installed on your house. So that might be something to look into for when they start up again in March. I don't know if that had come up in conversations before.
I don't know if that specific one has. We've done a couple things there. So Boulder County often has some sort of program to promote to the switch to solar. And then we did do a direct citizen rebate one year. $1,000 if you installed solar on your roof from the town of Nederland to citizens, but we used the Boulder County sustainability funding to do that, which is what we currently use to pay our sustainability coordinator. So we use that grant funding to incentivize people to do it. We did see a good number, but I know that a lot of people have expressed challenges with finding the right installer for their solar.
So I think that's what Solar Switch does, is they find the installers beforehand, and then they kind of manage that, from what I understand. That's what they told me, so.
I imagine it might be getting folks skilled trades up here could be.
Well,
It's a
it's
tight
actually often that some sort of construction needs to be done on the house, and or the house is oriented the wrong way. And so they go through this process. they get a design and then all of a sudden the guys come up and do a site visit because none of the installers that a third party sends you are necessarily local. And it's like, oh no, we can't put solar here, but maybe we can do a ground mount, but then a ground mount doesn't satisfy the customer. We've had several challenges. I know my roof has a particular extra slope in it. So according to fire code, I can't put solar on that side of my roof. I can only cover the backside. So I'd only cover like 30% of my needs because the backside is the north side.
The town is really good about it. So we don't have a disincentive by like bureaucracy or anything like that. When I did
Yeah,
it,
we've
it
got
was
great
really quick.
codes.
Yeah,
That's
Excel is a problem,
Yes.
but that is just a weight.
Yeah, the community garden mechanism seems at least somewhat clunky for community solar.
Yeah.
From the programs I've been exposed to before.
Yeah, we've talked about doing solar at the wastewater treatment facility in the space that's there, but it's really not enough to make a dent. And so, you know, the other things that have kind of been talked about is like, okay, well, we just get every single building in town to put solar panels on it, you know, but then we have to help them fund it. And how do we do that?
That's an like group solar purchase on like that many small buildings together.
No, I mean, if we had like people building big subdivisions, the town could put a requirement that they have a certain amount of solar,
Yes.
but no one's doing that up here, so.
No, and the one proposal that maybe
Yes.
will come forward someday, we have talked to about that, and they will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything on the other two main goals, zero waste and energy?
Should we ask if there's any public comment, or do we have any public people?
So many tabs. No people from the
Okay.
public,
Okay,
just Ty.
all right, sorry for interrupting.
Also,
No.
it says the chat is turned off. Is that usually the case?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't want it on.
No, yeah,
I mean,
just,
for our meeting, we don't usually have people, so it's
Mhm.
fine, but
yeah, but that won't count as public comment, essentially. Okay.
in general, it's a good rule of thumb here. It's gotten unruly at BOT meetings when it was left on.
I can say that.
I have no idea, man. Like,
Yeah,
How are we doing on the zero waste, achievable metrics?
I am thinking that we should have an in-vessel composter up at the transfer station. Do you know the answer to that? I haven't been up there to
what
take
is
my
it?
trash yet.
In my
I haven't
Did you-
noticed.
you were talking about the in-vessel composter at the transfer station?
Yeah, do we have it yet?
Yeah, it's there. It's not
Online.
completely functioning yet. They're still taking compost the old way. So I'll update you guys as soon as I know. But you know,
That's
Say
the,
But it's there.
it's there. It just is looking real pretty right now. That's like literally all it's doing.
There's a
Go ahead.
new opportunity with our bio waste hauling situation that we have, where if we buy a dump truck, we can haul our waste to where it's composted ourselves, which will save money for the town. But in return, we get to bring back compost as well. So that's something tangential. I just wanted to mention to you guys, that's kind of an evolving situation.
We have,
Yeah, I knew we were trying to get there. I just wasn't sure how close we were to getting the
if I
check
can,
that yes, everything okay to be composted.
If I can afford to buy a dump truck, it's pretty much done deal. So
Cool.
sweet.
don't we have a dump truck?
not one that we can use for this purpose.
Oh,
It's not big enough, but
Got it.
So that's a big one because that was promised to us for a long time, delayed for a long time, and we have been had a hard time composting there for a while. And so this should help, especially with all the restrictions around compost. And I don't know, compostable cups and such not being allowed anymore. We'll see what they can handle on their own.
We might get to
And
But-
and when it comes to that, like it's like the company who processes that compost. It's like, can their facility handle like they you know, for a while there, Billy was telling everybody, don't put those compostable bags in there because it just jams up the machine, according to the company that our compost goes through.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really up to that company.
But if we're processing it at the transfer station, then it's not up to that company anymore. It's up to
No.
Boulder.
Right.
Yeah.
Until that machine jams.
Internalizing. Juice.
You well, I work there, so you know, well, I'm on call there, but you know, it's real hit or miss with them. We're kind of their annoying stepchild sometimes.
And so do you know after it goes online, how long it'll take before it'll start making compost?
I have no idea, but if I can, I mean, Billy would really be a good guy to talk to about this. And I'll see if I can't get a comment from him on that. Well, actually, you know, I'll text him right now. He'll probably respond, but keep talking. If he responds, I'll let you know.
And then the plastic ban went into effect in July 1st, charging for paper bags and banning plastic bags and some styrofoam products. So that has been also something we wanted to have be successful for a long time. That is finally now at the state level, we can do that. So hopefully now that we have a sustainability coordinator on board, that can start rolling out. And then the construction demolition recycling program, I think you guys at town were kind of brainstorming, like, how do we make that program more effective? Because we're one of the first municipalities to have it, but we don't necessarily have a lot of people taking use of the rebate for recycling their materials.
Right. Yeah, that is something that's on my radar as well.
There's a rebate for, I didn't know that.
Well, there's a sustainability fee, right? And then you can get some of that fee back if you recycle, and it, like, you know, provides receipts. Otherwise, the fee goes to funding my position, I'm pretty sure.
Great.
It's been challenging. We do it, it's been working, but the problem is getting people to understand how it works and like follow, you know, just the administration of it. But I think Britt has got a pretty good handle on it. That's one of the things I got her with a little bit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And is that something that they get information when they file like a construction permit?
Yeah, Britt usually has a kind of a one-on-one with them, and I think we might be able to build some more materials around that to outreach.
Yeah, and that's its own deposit. That's separate from the new sustainability fee that was enacted in this year. That is part of the permitting process, right?
I am not sure.
I think they're separate. So there's a sustainability fee that every permit pays to the planning department. That's new as of 2024, I believe. And that is to start trying to figure out how to fund this position long-term. But the C&D deposit is something that everybody who's building new construction, I don't know if there's even a square footage. Deposits are based on square footage.
Yeah,
that you have to pay into the C&D program, and then you can get a rebate back out of that deposit. So the sustainability fee you don't ever get back, but this deposit, if you recycle your construction materials or.
Yeah, I'll follow up with that on like the two different fees.
Okay. At least that's the way I understand it.
And you're saying that the other fee is for that's good, or
I mean, I'd have to go back to look at the
I think it is all building permits.
all the
DOT
building
meeting
permits?
to be
Okay.
sure, but I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, I'll check with Britt and see if that is coming through.
And then EV use. Our chargers are online and people are paying for them? No.
No, we're having big time issues. So the level 2 charger broke and it was broken like, I don't know what happened to it, but the head unit wasn't communicating with the charge point system. So it was it wasn't really that bad. It was working in that way. And a unit. So that happened. And then that one started work, like charging and everything. The level 3 charger, we got it in and there was this huge delay in setting it up. And then the company that built that charger went bankrupt. So
You mean
had it
the
ready-
manufacturer?
Yes. So we had to like go through, Britt's been talking to them and we finally figured out. So did go to the BOT and lower the fees a little bit because they were set a little bit high. We weren't really, there was no revenue coming basically because they're too high. So we lowered the level 2 to 32 cents, level at 50 cents right now, which is I think what you guys had originally talked about. Level 3 charge line any day now. I think we have everything. I don't know if you've heard any updates.
Parts?
Yes,
That's a good answer.
I'm pretty sure that.
And so I know this is a grant that comes through all the time, the Charge Ahead Colorado, and it's like the only way that we ever get EV chargers in town. These that Excel didn't have the right power setup for the charger that we got, which sounds like the company went out bankrupt anyway. And so there was a delay on that front, and then in switching everything over, the level 2 somehow got broken, like, it's just a lot of.
I think we're gonna have a lot of, there's gonna be and I think you see that in electric vehicle charging networks across the country right now. It's like they've installed them in a lot of places without infrastructure.
Yeah.
You know, like a gas station where somebody's taking care of it all the time. So we just need to work as staff on checking them, and we've kind of built some processes in so we can monitor them and communicate with ChargePoint. And then in the model for the level 3 charger, it's probably, if people actually use it, which I think they will, because it's priced fairly competitively. There's enough money in there for a capital replacement plan, so I think we just need to remember that those chargers, if they do get heavy use, we're just gonna have to replace them every period of time. But that level 2 has been, I don't think there's been any problems. I've been using it almost every day and it's fine. So,
Okay.
Especially since it's free.
yeah, right. Well, now it's 32 cents,
Okay.
but that's still not terrible. I mean, you're not gonna see, I think a lot of the thing on the peak to peak is like, we probably want to prioritize level 3s because if people really are driving EVs, that they need, but
It is, for sure.
I'm embarrassed. I live next to the school and I use level 3 chargers for probably like more than half of my charging.
could probably have.
Yeah.
I did get a response from Billy. He says, not sure the timeline when it's going to be up and running. He says 10 to 12 weeks till there's a finished product, and then then continual finished product with a week or two in between harvesting as we continue to operate it.
Okay.
That's all I got.
The last thing I heard was that we were talking to the library about the next round of Charge Ahead Colorado grant. Do we know where we're at on that?
From what I was able to understand from some of Leia's notes, the library is on board and we need to figure out capacity at the site. And I don't know if there's been a site assessment done, but that seems like the next step.
I went to their board meeting and talked to them a little bit. I think we just need to meet with them
Okay.
and get the process moving.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern was, is there enough power on their side of the creek, on the far side of the creek for it, because the library is on the other side of the creek.
Somebody expressed interest in the little building by the gas station too, on the east side of the gas station, that there could be chargers there too. But I think that'd be like a private kind of thing.
Yeah, and makes it difficult to use the Charge Ahead Colorado funds.
A discussion about the mining museum too, right? But then maybe the sheriffs had question about like parking their
Yeah.
vehicles there because they don't want to lose spots.
Yeah,
But I
they
think we'd
park
also
there all
talk
the
about
time.
that.
Mhm.
If power
As
was,
another potential place, yeah.
yeah, more available there or the level that they would need.
It sounded like
And then here,
speculative,
Parking lot.
speculatively, that might have better access to
Yeah.
power. Um. Is ChargePoint responsible for maintenance on the, I assume they're it's like a turnkey on the level 2?
It's kind of a weird situation. They like kind of manage it and we pay a fee, like I think it's 10% of use kind of deal or something like that, but it's a warranty deal, so it's not everything, it's just
Some
certain
things.
things.
Okay. And I imagine on the level 3 with the defunct manufacturer, we're kind of on our own, or
I think there's some, I don't think it's like completely like a terrible situation. It's just, I think over time, it's gonna become something we want to be thinking about.
yeah. Okay.
The nice thing is all that new infrastructure they built over there, it should be fairly easy at this point to swap out head units from this point forward, because all the
Mhm.
infrastructure's been upgraded.
Hmm.
And so then we'll have 2 chargers. We have 2 chargers at town hall total now?
4, well, 2 charges with 4,
Yes, 2 chargers with 2, each charges 2 vehicles. Yeah, and then this building, this parking lot is the other, location that we've talked about for EV chargers.
Wild Bear would like to do it as well, and there's been some conversation
new
about
one, yeah.
maybe putting diagonal parking on the road adjacent to Wild Bear, which maybe
Okay.
is possible. And that might be a not terrible thing. They just ran 3-phase into Wild Bear and
Mhm.
undergrounded it, so there's, in theory, there's what is needed there, so.
Cool.
Who owns the road?
That is a good question. I think that we might own part of it, but I don't know that we own all of it. It might be the county owns part, we own part.
I think it's a county road, but.
I know we take care of part of it, so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that is a good question.
They can get grants too, which would be nice, so they can.
In the town of Nederland. Some of it. And then the road stops being town of Nederland. That's, so they probably, since they'd have to send the plow truck up for the back half.
If they have like a maintenance agreement or something, like if they own the road, then there's like a maintenance agreement
Yeah,
for other parts.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be a good location. It's right before you get into town or right as you're heading out of town that way. And do you know, she did say how many they were planning on, but I can't remember. They said
It was
up there.
not a terrible number. I remember that. It was. I know she's a little bit grant dependent too, so.
Yeah. But
I
multiple.
could ask her again. I mean, it's here soon.
And then, we're also working with Partners in Energy on that side of things, on the EV, and there's a regional EV group that's trying to make the peak-to-peak corridor EV friendly.
Did you guys discuss in front of the Black Forest in that new parking area right there?
No, the only discussions we've had, I think we're in the BNF parking lot is sort of an aspirational thing.
So we own that
Yeah.
parking right there in front of the Black Forest where they just made that new area.
Really?
Yeah, so that could be a spot. I don't know what the power looks like or anything, but
Why did we do back-end parking only then, if we own it?
I don't know. I wasn't here, but we own it. So
Because Tebow is the one who decided it was back in
Oh,
only
really?
parking, but
Okay.
town owns it.
Mhm.
So then why did he get to decide?
That's what I was.
The parking.
I don't, that's a good question. But
Okay.
That'd probably be, in my mind, that's a much better location than the community center from.
Well, anywhere where there's businesses within walking distance, I mean, I guess this is walking distance, but that's a lot less walking distance.
Yeah,
Is much like restaurants or.
somewhere to hang out while your car's
Yeah.
charging. Yeah,
Yeah, so,
definitely.
did you guys talk about at Chipeta? Or
no, I don't think that's ever been raised.
I think we did, and there's definitely not anywhere we can pull enough power. Like, we'd have to spend a lot of money on the infrastructure if we wanted to put one there.
The thing to realize is, one of those level 3 chargers pulls the same load as 14 houses, right? So, it's not just like throwing in a dishwasher or something.
Sure. So
Yeah, and I know BNF parking lot, because the BNF and the carousel both run off of the 3-phase, that we have it there. And it would be a great place to put
Yeah.
one. But again, you're dealing with private property.
Well, not those parking spaces though. I don't know where
The
you.
whole parking lot there is.
Oh, I was talking about the one in front of the.
Oh,
old
yeah, Black
Forest.
Horse.
They built that new
Yeah.
wall, the retaining wall.
Yeah.
And then in front of it, there's like, I don't know how much parking there is, but there's some right there. that
Yeah.
Could potentially
Like
work.
15 spots or.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked about, one of the challenges they get the town hall situation is like if you have a truck and you may be pulling a camper or something, you may not be able to charge. Like having pull-through spaces for larger vehicles.
I can't really think of any place around here where you could accommodate that. And
We
put
did
in
it
a
in
charger.
Idaho Springs, we put like 4 in.
Yeah, but Idaho Springs is,
I'm just saying it's
Big
it's something people, oh yeah, but it's something that might be useful.
I mean, yeah, Tebow's really the only parking lot, or maybe around Mitchell's, where there's enough space though, to your point,
Yeah.
to actually park a vehicle that's that long.
and even.
Jonathan, didn't we talk about at some point, like it may have just come up in conversation, like no set plan or anything, but like redoing the visitor center parking lot, like there was just some mention of it.
Yeah,
I mean, is there a
Go
Go
Didn't
ahead.
we just,
It needs to be, it's not designed correctly. We need to swap the flow in there so that the traffic jams aren't as
oh,
significant.
that part of it.
And so there is a possibility, like when we do that, we could look at other changes. Like, we're also gonna be doing this TIPS project, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but
Mhm.
it basically does sidewalks and redoes all the streets towards the RTD lot, and there will be a significant more amount of parking over there.
Yes,
And that could be another area, but all of that area needs to get addressed.
yeah, you could maybe pull through there on the street.
Maybe by the newspaper.
Mhm.
Or just like, who owns the street next to the RTD parking lot? Is that us?
Yeah, we own it.
Well, I'm just wondering if maybe those would be good spots for like, if there was someone with an electric F-150 with a trailer that could pull up there. And that would be one of those, like, like that's not such a huge thing right now I'm not saying it won't be huge, but it's not such a huge thing now where I feel like we'd have so many people coming through town with electric trucks with trailers finding a spot to charge, but that could be a potential start.
Just as a counterpoint, anecdotally, I ran into a Nederland family in Frisco charging their VW with the trailer. And the only way they got it to work was they parked the trailer.
Yeah.
And then pulled in to charge.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Drop the trailer, yeah.
So it's happening, will happen more.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not. it's-
And then the other EV thing is the Colorado car share, which to my understanding is really not getting a lot of use.
It's only been used twice all summer.
So one of the times that it was used was by me, and I got stranded at Roy's Last Shot. I didn't make it home because it didn't have enough battery power, and that was fun. So that's another thing that we need to talk about. Like, do we want to try to continue that program? We pay for it, like,
It's 10,000.
or is that something that's like not?
They asked us for $10,000 for next year.
I
Yeah.
would say
We don't-
we should not recommend that we do that. If people aren't using it, it's a waste. It's a waste of the car, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be being used by people somewhere else. And the ideas that we had that people would use this to drive into Boulder or do whatever does not seem to be panning out.
It's a
And
little expensive to use.
That's what I've heard from a lot of people.
it's a little expensive to use, I think, and also, most people up here already have a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you drove it, but you already have a vehicle, right? So.
Yeah, but my vehicle was like not safe to drive when I
Okay.
drove it, so.
I think that maybe we don't have enough of a population to sustain that. And it doesn't sound like tourists are really using it, so.
I think the sign up process is repetitive of the tourism use, yeah.
What do we know how many Ned residents have signed up for the program?
Oh, like
I have, Tom Mahawold has, you did.
Oh, maybe it's more.
I did, and then they called me and I never ended up getting my key fob because I couldn't
I think
connect
you
with-
and. Tom
Oh,
are
okay.
people who have used it.
So it's just me and Tom.
You need a key fob.
We do have like
They've been
$200.
No, it's not a fob.
It's
I
like
can,
a-
I have it in my wallet, actually.
Yeah, but they
Oh.
mail that to you.
And you tap it. There's like a little thing on the windshield and you
Yeah,
tap
the
it.
town has like $200 in credit
We went
that we
back,
should
like
use it.
hood contact
Nothing
for
else.
like a month.
I could
and
use it to
Yeah.
go down
It's just
Boulder
like
for a
That's fine.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think town staff
was
is
ready.
using it a lot.
We,
Yeah,
To
we
like
went to
go to
getting
meetings
it
down the
and
head.
get through the
Because
registration
basically
process.
it wasn't
like
being
a
used
Kenyan
for
problem.
Yeah, it's like-
because they knew there wasn't a
Yeah.
reservation.
Oh, great.
And Colorado
Yeah.
Car Share had said that's totally
Yeah.
fine. If it's not sitting there used, then you guys can drive it. And so town staff basically got it for free without having to reserve
I
it.
did ask them for another free year because they told us like last week that we had to pay for it. So if they are willing to give us another free year, we could try to
And
work on it a little bit, but I
Yeah.
just think for $10,000.
We paid $9,000
Yeah.
last year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, but
didn't we?
I
thought it
thought
was
that I thought that we did the free deal and the idea was if it really took off and it made
Then we
money,
would pay the 9,000.
we would get a lot less.
I thought it was free last year too.
They offered a deal where we would pay a certain amount. And then we would get the majority of any revenue it generated.
I understood that there was two contract options. We were getting the car for free. We didn't pay for the car at all. And then for the service of car share, we could either do a 50-50 model
Right.
where they would account for things and at the end of the year, we'd split the profits, or we could pay $9,000. They would administer the program. And if they made any money on top of what we paid them,
Oh,
then
I think
they
you're
might
right.
give us a little bit
Yeah,
back.
and I think you're right. And I think that the 50-50 model, if no one
We
used
knew
it,
that wasn't
was gonna cost a lot more than $9,000. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. That's right.
There is an opportunity in a similar space to get $250,000 to improve mountain rides with an electric shuttle. That would be
That'd be awesome.
expand its service area a little bit and
What is
how
mountain
frequent it
ride?
is. It's like a transit service that's mostly peak to peak. It goes like between Ward and Rollinsville and here, basically.
Oh, really?
But what it would do is it would allow free inter-town transit and then you could go back and forth. And it could be something, it could be an electric shuttle, and we've been talking to the NEPADAC board, which is the RTD board, about how we could implement that. So that's something that has been coming up if you guys are interested in having more information about that.
Takes people from Ward and Rollinsville into Nederland essentially?
It does that now, but what is wanted is another loop that would circulate around town too, that could just go, you know, especially when traffic is busy, so people could just jump on, and jump off and not have to drive. But it's, they have some money for funding a transportation project in Nederland, and so that's one of the ones that's come up, and they've also talked about improving RTD service in the morning and afternoons for high school kids. But I think it's a conversation that if you guys want to be, you know, if you're interested in this transportation space, there's some funding there potentially.
Is there any chance that would apply to like the Hesse bus too? Like,
Yeah, we could look at that too.
Who paid, but we don't pay for that now, do we? The Hesse
You
one?
pay, not really, no.
I mean, we're all taxed in the RTD special
Sure,
district for
sure,
it,
yeah.
but, well, and I think like a shuttle that could go up to West Mac to take bikers up to West Mac.
You're also
Yeah.
talking like locals only shuttle for when Eldora is going, so people can get up there and then.
yep, that's fair too.
I feel like it would help with the parking situation too, not having to drive into, if it kind of went and such, like paid parking and all that stuff that's coming up. And also just when parking is busy, like having that, because mountain rides is only currently like a couple days a week, right?
It would like greatly expand its service is what
Yeah.
would be wanted, so.
That would be cool.
And there is electric shuttle money right now, so if we could get that money, we could probably use it to match into a bigger grant to get some electric shuttles.
Yeah, that would be great.
As long as we have chargers for the shuttle.
Right.
Which that was one of the emails that came through talking about fleet charging.
Yes, and then I know that town was working with, and I don't know if you have any info on this, working with somebody on consultation of, how we kind of transition the fleet vehicles that we can at least to EV. And I know that we definitely can't do all of them. There's, snowplow, obviously, we don't have that technology quite yet. But some of the trucks that regular town utilities uses to get around, we've talked about maybe transitioning
I
these.
hate it if you guys had a goal to look at that next year and think about like a strategic plan for how we could do that. We are in a very constrained financial position this year, and it's gonna be just a constrained year. But I think that this is something we want to talk about. We do have a lot of very old vehicles that are gonna need to be replaced, and I
Yeah.
think if we can come up with a plan for how we do that, especially if there is access to this fleet money, like it would be good. And one thing we could do is think
I
about.
think there is a plan somewhere. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
Okay.
I think we were working with a company
Got
that
it.
was helping us develop a plan of what can we transition and what year should we start
Did you guys talk about inside
transitioning them?
charging at the public works facility or anything like that?
A
Or,
little bit.
okay.
I'm sure we had a meeting on it. I'll try to find notes on it later if I can and send it to you.
Is that the partner?
There was a presentation on it. No, I don't think
It's
it was
not.
partners.
Okay, because that is part
Maybe
of,
it was.
it is part of the EV action
Maybe it
plan.
was them.
They have it like listed.
I don't know. I remember we had a presentation on it
Well,
at a SAB meeting, and there was a table and the years of all the vehicles and how old they were and
Okay.
all that.
Well, I'll bring it up in the next meeting and see if they know anything about it.
Could we go back to the car share for a second? It
Yeah.
sounded like maybe we need to are we looking to take a vote on whether or not we continue that? Is that something we would need to vote on tonight because they just reached out about payment?
Yeah, and I would like to talk to the BOT about it on Tuesday. So if you guys had a,
If we have an opinion.
We should make a recommendation, maybe.
Yeah.
I think our recommendation should be that we not continue it because if no one's using it, doesn't seem to be much prospects of people using it. It's
Taking up a charging spot.
taking out the charging spot and wasting our money.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I second that motion. So our recommendation to the BOT is that we discontinue the use of Colorado car share.
if it is free, does that change you guys' mind if it's not? If we can keep another,
if it's
If it
free,
doesn't cost us anything, yeah, keep it.
but even then, yeah, but it's still
We
sort
gotta
of,
officially vote too.
still sort of a waste of a car
It
if
is.
no one's using it. I mean, we get it for free. What are we getting for free? We're getting for free something that no one's using. I don't know.
I might use it a
It's
couple more
free to
times if it's.
See if we can solve see if we can get them to solve the onboarding issue.
Yeah.
And get a few more people, cause like,
Yeah.
we both, we
just
both
talking
got stuck in the
about that,
onboarding. And it's like, I
So-
think it sounds like it's actually pretty convenient to use once you get through that, but like, my scenario was like,
It's
huh.
costly.
I need a car like now.
Yeah.
I don't have 2 weeks to wait for the fob to arrive and then.
are you allowed to use the one that's at town hall? Can you just like come get the,
I have to make a reservation and pay for it.
I know, but like, can we give that to people like if they, I don't know how,
I
do you
feel like
have to
they
have the
want-
card or can you use the actual?
You have to have the card.
No,
You're not allowed to give the card to anybody else.
No, there's insurance issues and
Insurance,
things like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Okay,
like take a copy of your driver's license and all of that as part of the registration.
I think legally, essentially, you're renting it the way you would from Hertz or whatever, so.
Honestly, it took me about 15 minutes to sign up for it. And then the phone call, which took again 5 minutes, but it's getting the person on the phone.
Yeah,
That's the same problem we had with the solar, right? So it's a thing, and it is expensive. It's not cheap. I mean, it's not unreasonable though. I mean, when you look at, they're dealing with all the maintenance costs, they're dealing with filling the tires when they're flat. They're gonna pay to tow you home when you get to me, right? I didn't have to pay for a tow truck. So all those costs are built into it and is why it's so high per mile to use. But that has, if we had some way to subsidize residents using it, that would definitely bring that burden down a little bit. But again, we're in a tough financial situation, so. I don't know. We need to officially vote. I vote yes, Maddie.
to just get,
To
motion to be,
discontinue.
recommend to the BOT that unless the car is completely free to us next year, no charge, that we discontinue the relationship. Yes, and having the car. Okay.
John, do I
Yeah.
need to opt myself out of this vote? Because didn't this come up with a different board?
No, you don't.
You get an opinion.
You don't have, that's not a conflict of interest. I vote yes.
No, Jack,
Yes to discontinue if it's not free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ty,
Yes.
you can just put unanimous.
All right, now you can talk to the town board.
A lot of things are unanimous.
Spoiler alert, Ty, we're gonna talk about this on Tuesday.
Oh, whoa, such a shocker.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to move on to the Partners in Energy dashboard update? The second
Yeah,
thing on the agenda, or does somebody else have something on? goals?
One thing that didn't show up on here that would be worth having at least on our list of radar and things to think about would be things related to resilience. I think it's a big theme in the proposed town plan. I think that is something that we should be thinking about. It's an element of sustainability that,
Yeah,
you know,
I think the idea for that is that's part of a climate action plan, is really planning for resilience.
okay.
Especially when talking about wildfire or flood, which are both things we've experienced here.
Yeah.
But obviously there's other pieces to that as well. And we've been trying to seek either another capstone group or some sort of program to help us get that done. As you can tell from the discussion tonight, a lot of our constraints is funding to have somebody write that for us.
Okay. Great.
We have a chance to revise these goals since they get us just through 2025.
Yes,
So next year we should start thinking about like reprioritizing.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And this check-in was supposed to happen in July and we
Right.
didn't have a meeting. And so this is our kind of annual check-in of on these goals, how are we feeling about the prioritization? Does anybody want to shift anything? So if you do feel like something needs to change, definitely bring that up now. Or we can say we want to talk about it at the next meeting too.
I was just gonna ask that. Yeah, put it on the agenda for next meeting.
Shuffling priorities or
Yeah, like comments on priority.
Yeah, feedback on our goals and the current priorities that we have. Okay. So the dashboard, if you scroll down on the agenda, the second page, this is kind of the main notes that Leah and Excel Energy had provided for us on that dashboard. So they use 2018 as the baseline data. Page 3 shows the breakdown of kilowatt and therm savings based on participation in corresponding programs. Participation in 2023 is over 5 times higher than the lowest participation rate of 9 in 2021. That's in regards to like the rebate programs, the efficiency programs. And then it shows some small business rebate savings. I know there was like the co-op got a new fridge, freezer unit, everything. And they got some sort of rebate from Excel for reducing their energy usage with that. Small business solutions have the highest savings in Nederland, and it's a popular program offered by Excel. Nederland and Partners in Energy and focusing on business outreach to increase participation in that. And then renewable energy participation rates have remained relatively flat since 2020, which is when we had everybody online for Renewable Connect. And we got, what was it, 30 something, 40 something people signed up for that program. And so that really jumped our use. And then we haven't had another program like that to really take off. So, I mean, really, Leah was supposed to be presenting this to us, and I don't expect you to. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not super sure on where to go with this. Some things I did notice that I did ask about is like there was a decrease in solar part. why. So there's a total decrease in renewable energy participation by 4 people. And I wasn't sure which 4 programs that was. Like, was that somebody's Renewable Connect contract expiring? Was that somebody, looks like a couple people got off of Wind Source, maybe because the price went higher. And yeah, so people off of Renewable Connect, it looks like. But one of the big things again with this data is that they're not going to calculate our production based on the way that spreadsheet calculates it. So we're having a hard time getting a number from them of where we are towards 100%. So at some point, it would be great to really dive into that spreadsheet and try to evaluate like where we are year over year. And I think if somebody helped Cass with that, that would be great, because she's also got a lot of other things to do.
I volunteer. I love spreadsheets.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
There's in the SAV drive, there's like a couple documents about it, but basically it's going to be your 2019 capstone presentation on 100% renewable energy. And inside the spreadsheet itself, there's all sorts of comments and stuff that like tell you how to use it.
Okay.
And what to fill in. And
I will say reading the CU Boulders report really helped me like understand why
What
they
it
were
is.
calculating things different ways. I haven't like put all the numbers in, but that might be a good place to start.
I have read at least one of CU Boulder's reports, but I'll see. I'll get the spreadsheet and then compare it and see if I've read the right one.
So one of the big things that I think we should talk about is going into winter, reconnecting with what is it, Energy Smart in the Boulder County office that offers all sorts of like weatherization and other rebates for folks.
Is it Pace?
Pace is the business one.
Oh, you're talking about residential stuff.
Yes.
Got it.
Dave came to our meetings for a while, but really what we need to do is kind of pump up that community outreach piece and really let people know that these programs are available. And we've worked with Wild Bear to do that. We've worked with the library to do that.
We can build out, I don't think that's on the website right now, but we could work with Peter to get that published.
Yeah, that would be great. A lot of their programs, if you make 80% of median income, you can qualify. In Boulder County, that median income is really high. It's like 80,000 for a family of 2 or something like that. So I think there would be a significant people that qualify, and then it's just a matter of, do they have the infrastructure to really get that done? You know, so like a renter can't put insulation in the house that they're renting, right? That would be on the owner, and they'd have to convince their landlord to do that, and then their rent's going to go up, and here we go. But the people that do own their homes, you know, at least can get some help with those sorts of things. And maybe just see if we have any of them that want to attend our meetings virtually here and there from the office, because they used to from the Boulder County Sustainability Office.
Have you guys ever attended the Health and Human Services Fair or thought about doing that, like just in the energy space, like here? So the Health and Human Services, they bring a lot of providers, like EFA comes.
I don't know if we've ever come.
But it would be a good opportunity to meet a pretty broad range of people, and I'm sure they would love to have anybody that could, anybody that could come from Boulder, anything in the energy space at all. So it might be just something to think about, and that happens monthly, so.
Okay.
Is that an in-person or? virtual?
Yeah, it's in here.
It's here.
Oh, it's
right?
in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can like sign up for EFA or
Yeah.
food stamps or Medicaid or whatever. Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't think we've done it at those. And we need somebody, you know, to commit every month. We could rotate out, but somebody from you know, our group to help spread that
That
info.
gentleman you noted, like if you wanted to come or something, like you could have them come straight to talk to. Cause I think they just set a table up for them or whatever.
Yeah. It's possible. I don't know if they would come up for that, but
Um,
it's definitely worth asking.
I feel like one of the things that's most helpful when you're trying to figure out what and whether to do a retrofit is trying to get all the information in one place and like generally not in a stack of papers, but with like somebody who can talk you through it and be like,
And
okay,
they do
Yeah.
audits for like $150 too. They'll do that for you.
it's an energy spec. I think we have.
This is who the county
Yeah.
uses, their county.
I feel like that's part of the Dr. Cog grant program too, is like energy auditing and like rebates for homeowners, especially like low and middle income people and like multifamily housing units.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it's driven by like the federal mapping for disadvantaged communities too. And
Yeah.
I think Nederland is like classified and it's not on its map.
I looked at least, I'm pretty sure the Colorado designation and it was not, but I will double check that.
Okay. I thought at one point Ned was on one of the federal maps. I can't remember the name.
Okay, I'll look at the federal level too.
What's the name of it? Well,
Is it the the climate and environmental justice screening tool?
no, it's. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Is it that's CJust? Anyways,
Yeah, sounds right.
And so then when you talk to partners in energy,
Mm-hmm.
what is our status with them moving forward?
Yeah, so they said that with the energy action plan, their support, because that was done in 2018, and so we're in like the graduate support phase, that support ends in December 2024, so this December. And they said that we can write a new MOU with them to basically continue that support, or we can reapply if, I don't know if we wanted to, I don't know if they do climate action plans, or if that would be related, but basically we could reapply to do this program over again. Yeah, with where we're at.
The MOU isn't that complicated of a process, I don't think. Though.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
and that might be the way to go, just because we already have ideas, we already have this plan that we created. And then with the EV action plan, they said, well, we're in the middle of implementation with that one, but they said that everything's kind of been paused, I think because we weren't having meetings. And they have a lot of strategies that I'm just learning about, that align with Boulder County's like regional transportation electrification plan.
I mean, my preference would be to continue that graduate support. I think it's good to have that technical help when we're trying to piece these apart, even if it's not the exact data we want, because it's always hard to get your own data from the company that owns it. But they've been the only way for us to really get access to any data. So I say we can keep going with it and keep getting their help.
Excuse me.
That's something we need to vote on, or is that just
We
Maybe in December.
talk to the BOT?
get that MOU, like figure out what that needs to be, so maybe
Okay,
that's our next step, and then you guys could approve it and then board can approve it. As long as we've got direction that we can go that way.
Yeah.
You have everything you think you need for us to have that conversation, or
with Partners in Energy, I think so,
okay,
yeah.
we can always follow up if we need to.
And let me know if you want me to hop on, just because I have some of that historical
Mhm.
background of everything we've done with them and where we're at. Does anybody have anything else they want to discuss on that dashboard update of 2023?
I think the high number of energy audits relative to everything else was pretty cool. Just it's often a first step to making other upgrades. And then the high, lots of HVAC replacements, which is like a big item
Mm-hmm.
people are investing.
Yeah, and I want to say that success on the business side, it was thanks to Pace. Matt Hannon with Pace did a really good job of helping kind of guide some of those businesses to the right rebates and the right organizations. And I think Pace even can recommend, depending on the project, funders that are willing to do loans for your project.
Have you guys ever worked with the DDA on helping businesses and properties to access funding for energy projects?
What was that 3-letter acronym?
The
downtown
development
authority.
Yeah, thank you.
They also have matching funds too, as well. I was thinking.
I don't think we have.
No, I don't think we've ever really worked with the DDA on anything ever.
I was thinking they have a lot of, it might be a fit at some point, but that might be a tomorrow thing in the future.
Yeah, I think it's a great pool of money to help kind of bring in some of that infrastructure into downtown. And help with especially that business side of things. Yeah.
The Furban project also, when it opens in kind of relation with Pace, it's gonna be able to stack funding on that. And I think like the heat
Okay.
pump piece and closed loop geothermal projects are gonna be fairly easy to get. And I think that's something that might make sense for us to be thinking about. You know, there's for instance, like BNF, when the power goes out, they lose
Mhm.
food, and it would be nice to have another microgrid over there, and
Yeah.
maybe like some kind of geothermal systems starting to go into town might be cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the new closed loop systems are pretty effective, I guess. So I'm just throwing that out there, that Furban is talking about electrifying. I mean, they have the money to electrify whole streets, so
What is Furban?
it's a program between DRCOG and Excel that they're gonna be pushing out a lot of money into communities. And the first priority is again, just heat pumps, basically, but they'll be doing a lot of different electrification projects.
And on the, producer side of it, for Excel, what they're doing is they're reducing the load that's on their grid. They're putting into money into all these efficiency programs and these other programs to try to really change that load. Well, when we touch back in with Pi and we talk about, what we want to maybe do next year. I know that in the past, when we did this action plan, they paid for like 2 community outreach events or something. So that also helps as they, it's $100, but
What-
it's something.
One thing else to consider with your plan is that the new comp plan is kind of working its way through right now.
Yeah.
And draft 1 is kind of gone through its first review phase, so we'll have a draft 2, but there's a survey. And a lot of the sustainability language in the first plan has been turned into resiliency language, but it's still kind of, sustainability kind of goes throughout the plan. But if you guys wanted to give feedback on that plan, there is a survey, and love to have you involved in those sessions. And then also that clump, well, hopefully we'll have a second draft that's kind of addresses some of the issues in the first draft that can be reviewed.
So the first draft did come to us.
Okay,
That was part of the process. And as through the Nederland planning process, the draft should come
right.
to
This
us.
this
and then
first draft, like maybe a week ago. The actual like full final copy of the first draft.
Okay,
all the
so not that.
Yeah.
But previously, they came to us, they did the whole plan, then we had the multimodal people come after that.
All right. Well, this plan, it's online now, so if you guys want
Okay.
to look at it, you're more than, we'd love that, and we can
Yeah,
share that survey with you too.
Definitely.
And then, just like there is some sustainability goals and I just want to make sure they align, is I guess what I was trying to say. So.
Okay.
Sorry, I realized I just had my mic on at the wrong time when my wife was running a vacuum cleaner, so I apologize.
We didn't hear it.
Oh, good.
At least I didn't hear it.
Did you say
No?
something about touching back in with me, or was it, did I just mishear?
I think you misheard.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Anything else on the partners and energy update there? Okay, so the sustainability scorecard is part of the Nederland planning process as well. We follow the nested definition of sustainability where we're all exist inside of the natural environment. And many years ago, there was a scorecard that was made up where projects could basically be passed through it and it rates them on a really holistic scale from social and built environment factors to other factors, and kind of gives a final grade of from 0 to 4 of a project. And if it's a 2.5 or higher, then the sustainability board recommends it. And if it's lower, it's not. And so we've talked about having a subcommittee kind of look at revisiting this and seeing if there's anything that needs to be updated, given what we know now. I know when we originally did it, there was a long discussion about natural gas and whether it was going to be included as renewable or not. And they ended up putting it in as renewable. And so that was one thing that was brought up by folks as possibly needing to be changed. And so I don't know where we're at on all that because we had 3 months off. I'm assuming that that subcommittee did not meet. I'm not even sure who was on it. And so
Did we formalize that? I guess if we did, I don't remember.
you had the minutes. I don't know, but so that's, I put it on the agenda again because if we were going to talk about it, maybe we didn't formalize it and that's why it's on the agenda since July. We were going to talk about it in July. But this is every construction project that town encounters. So for example, the TIPS project went through this scorecard for us to kind of grade.
Did the conflict?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't know if it counts because it's the Nederland planning process and how it's supposed to function has been told to be several different things by several different people over the years. Some people say it's only applicable to construction projects.
Okay.
So
guys-
then the comp plan wouldn't fall.
Do you
But
guys want to have a conversation about updating what this is relevant to and like kind of clarify that moving forward? Because I'd love, I didn't actually, I feel like I missed this a little bit that we had this. So I'd like to make sure that we're doing it where we need to.
yeah, and I don't think there's been anything that's come up since you've come on that wasn't already underway and hence went through it already.
Okay.
But so like I said, I think the last thing we did was the TIPS project. That was probably the last scorecard.
Okay. Did you guys look at
Figuring
the
it.
Safer Main Streets project?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think we did that and TIPS together because they were similar but different. And so basically each staff member fills it out anonymously and then we average the scores overall. And then we provide the feedback. There's places to put comments and stuff, and that's all provided to the project folks or the BOT, with whoever it is, staff or BOT, anonymously, so that you don't have to feel like you're being mean to somebody. Yeah, I think, you know, as far as my understanding is that whenever the Nederland planning process was evoked, it says for projects, developments, renovations and events.
Like special events?
I don't know. But that's when
the guy days.
I was gonna
It's
say this
been
must have been in the deck.
No, because we never put Dead Guy Days through this. I'm trying to think of what we put. So when we constructed the new town shop, that went through this. Ron Mitchell came to us and asked us to do one for him, and we said, no, we're not gonna do an official one, but we'll give you our comments on your project. The TIPS program, the TIPS project went through it. The GoCo grant application for like the parks and stuff went through it.
UTD.
I
guess
think
that
that was
hasn't-
before this.
That actually hasn't even been, the new one isn't ready for planning yet, so.
Correct. The
Okay.
new one is not, but it
That would-
should.
Okay,
That one would be the next one probably that should.
and then private, is there a scale up private that would go through this? Like, cause would you do a single family home or would you do more like a multifamily thing or something like that, or?
I think when the town of Nederland is engaged,
Got it,
that's when
okay.
we go through it. So when we're talking about, Ron Mitchell's downtown development, town of Nederland is definitely
Understand?
highly involved in that. So yes, it would at the time that it's been, because it's a PUD.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
That's, and again,
Do
that's.
you guys do that, or there's another board that does this too, or a subgroup?
So there is the Nederland planning process where projects that are in that care category go to every single board.
Oh.
This is
like-
what SAB does when
I-
it comes to
okay, I
us.
got it, I
Does
understand.
that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So they all have to come before all the boards, and then when we see them, we do this.
That's your criteria.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
We took a long roundabout way to get to somewhere simple, but yes, that is it. So do we have anybody, I know we had people interested on being on the subcommittee to help look at that and draft up and propose any possible changes to it?
I was definitely interested.
I
and
think
guess
so.
I might have been the only one, and maybe that's why we didn't keep going.
I'm interested. I would love to
Cool.
get fire included in the safety section.
Great. Well, the two, you can take that then and look at that. If nobody else wants to be on the subcommittee, we don't have to post it, so that would be great.
Do we have, or can you send me a link to like a Word document with everything that's in that form?
Yes,
Can the committee consist of people who are not
yes.
on SAB? And we
Yes.
don't need to advertise that as an
No,
option?
what she meant by posting it was, if it's more than two
Sometime
people, it becomes a public meeting.
Oh, I see what you
Yeah,
mean. So if
so-
there's 3 members from SAB on it.
Exactly.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so we can still put it out, like, if
Yeah.
anybody has feedback, come join us and talk about it, but it's not,
Probably good for you to stay involved in that process from
Yeah.
a staff perspective.
hmm
Even if it's not all the time you guys are meeting, we want to make sure that we've got legal touch points on there.
Can you repeat the last few words? We want to make sure that we have something on there.
I think he meant legally, the town should have understanding. of what's going on.
Okay, it's like a copyright implication, so we just want to make sure we're looking at the, yeah, the work and making sure.
Thanks.
how come you pull up on my email on my phone, but not on my laptop?
Oh, my Gmail, maybe it comes up as like M Woods.
Oh, no, I just started typing Maddie like I do on my phone, and it didn't
Oh,
pull
okay.
you up as well. So, it's supposed to.
Okay. Or if you just send it to all of SAB. So then Jack has it too.
That's probably. Okay. Next thing is anything you wanna update us on? Anything you can work about that we haven't talked about already? And don't feel pressured because we know you're new.
No, all good. Yeah, so the one thing we didn't touch on was the zero waste subcommittee. And I am planning on sending out an email to everyone that's on the listserv that I was provided.
Mhm.
I don't know, how many people on that listserv are still interested. Maddie, you were part of it, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so,
I don't
don't-
know if I'm on the listserv though,
okay,
but yes.
I maybe
You're probably not.
I'll
It's very-
send that
very
over
good here.
to you. I mean, would you have emails or know of certain people who are on the committee who I should definitely include, or?
I had only gone to one meeting. They were
Okay.
meeting quarterly.
I think she
Yeah.
was in the same situation as you.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll just send that email out and just see who replies.
Okay.
But the next meeting is scheduled for November 6th at 1 PM.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because that's just, I think, when it was supposed to happen anyway.
Cause they switched from quarterly to monthly, I think,
Yeah.
is what they voted on last time.
They want to do monthly.
I thought that was. the
Okay,
case,
yeah. And then with that, like the main thing is just trying to do outreach for the plastic bag ban and bag fee and all of that. So that we can set a timeline to determine when we're gonna start enforcing it. Because we don't wanna like start enforcing it now when we haven't done any outreach yet.
Yes. Yes, so I, as a business manager, have gotten zero information from the town as far as to how I'm supposed to submit my
I got
fees to you guys.
Somehow totally,
It got lost in
yeah,
the
so
shuffle.
we'll get it fixed. But we were thinking, we bring this to the board as an information item too, just so everybody knows what's gonna happen.
Okay,
And then do the outreach and then we can start that process.
yeah,
But I think it should, I don't think it needs to be super crazy. I think we can create a pretty simple one for the administration part of it. And then did you guys determine, I don't know as much, and maybe you guys already know this, but have we talked about what happens with that money? Like, is it go to like,
it goes into that zero waste funding
Okay.
line like the C&D stuff does or whatever.
okay,
Yeah, I was reading and it was like you can use it for administrating like the process of collecting the fees and such, and then also for any zero waste projects.
cool.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think part of it, was gonna be another batch of funding that goes towards this position that kind of administers the whole thing. And so part of the outreach was not just like letting businesses know, like, hey, this is a new thing that you have to do, and here's how to submit your fees, but also here are some great alternatives to bags you can switch to, and kind of helping them with that transition if they need help as well. And that's why we were like, yes, zero waste subcommittee. Let's get you guys on board because we know town staff doesn't have necessarily the time to do that kind of research, but maybe some of those volunteers do.
I sent Leah a bunch of stuff at one point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that ever.
Probably not.
If anything
you-
ever happened with it.
I mean,
but-
I can go
Can
back
dig it
at her emails. I just don't have anything between July, like 25th, left,
Yeah.
and then when I started, like
it.
October 15th, like that is just gone from the email.
Okay.
I just don't think there's anything in there. There just wasn't anything.
Right. I mean, but like even things that she had subscribed to, like newsletters, like those didn't come through because I think the email had been shut down or
turned
something.
off or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, and our previous two sustainability coordinators didn't use a town of Nederland email, so there's also
Yeah,
all sorts of historical
I was-
stuff in those emails.
yeah, and I only have one that's sustainablenet@gmail.com.
Erica's. yeah.
Yeah, and it still has Leia's name on it, and I don't know how to change it from her name. I also don't have the password to it, so
Can you read the mail?
I can read the mail because it's logged in on this computer, but
Okay.
I might need to reach out to Leia to see if she has the password.
Yeah,
'cause-
that won't last forever, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be some point when
Yeah.
I'm logged out, so.
Yeah, well, luckily she's not like gone forever gone,
Oh,
we
exactly,
can still
yeah.
contact her.
Yeah.
Okay,
Another thing that I saw
yes.
in the ordinance when I was reading it was that the fees could also be used for the town of Nederland to create a disposable bag that we then give to retail businesses.
Yes, because that's what we did when we instituted the first plastic bag
Okay.
ordinance before the Colorado ban.
Mhm.
So when we were charging 10 cents per bag.
Mhm.
And we did make a series of bags that said hashtag net zero on them.
Okay.
And gave them out to folks.
Mhm.
So that's why that's in there,
Okay.
because we've done it in the past. I don't think it was necessarily put in there
It
as
wasn't a new
something
thing. Okay.
we're looking to do all the time.
Mhm.
But definitely every once in a while, having a cool Ned bag to give to residents to reuse for shopping might be nice. But definitely not a priority.
Yeah.
I think keeping your position is.
Yeah,
priority.
definitely. Yeah.
Do you know about the funding from the county? Because I heard, somebody told me that we may actually be eligible for another year of funding for that position. But there's also been, I've been told it was this year was the last year, but I just wasn't sure. And then the commissioners have some new sustainability goals too, that I think
Yeah.
we need to look at.
And are you, you guys are good with like applying for that $15,000 grant and all the reporting and everything,
Yeah.
like you're good on that?
Yeah,
front?
we're
Okay,
actually
great.
doing pretty good and we just need to manage it, but with Leah
Yeah.
being gone, you actually have more
I-
hours than originally you would have, which is good.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so, and originally, when we signed up for it, they said if you were gonna hire a staffer, you get 5 years for the county to help with funding. And then after year 5, you need to fund the position yourself. The grant isn't gonna do it anymore. We got around that a little bit because in 2019, when we hired Garrett, he was an independent contractor.
Okay.
So we have, I believe next year is the last year. I
Okay.
think it's 2020 to 2025, but I would definitely confirm that with the county.
Okay.
But I think that's how we got around it and got an extra year, is that he wasn't on payroll. I think Erica was the first one that was on payroll.
They kind of told me if we meet these new sustainability goals, that we might be able to access more funding, but I'm not sure what these new goals are. I'm not sure they've been kind of solidified yet, so.
That's gotta be from because this comes from the sustainability tax, this funding.
Mhm.
So it's gotta be something they're changing internally in that program of how they distribute funds.
Okay.
Cause I've never heard that before. That's new.
Well, maybe we could have a meeting with them too.
Did you wanna say something?
Yeah, but we can bookmark it until it's a convenient time to come back. It's related to the energy goals and community solar. So I don't want to bring us off track.
Do you have anything else to update us on?
Honestly, I think we covered everything that I've been looking at so far.
So go for it.
So we were talking about the solar gardens.
Yeah.
2 types of billing and generally it being a bit of a pain. SB 24-207, which passed in May, was something that like was in the back of my head. I was like, oh, I was at a conference and I know they've updated community solar for Colorado, but utilities now like basically put in quotas for utilities that increase over time for community solar, and it has to be, it sounds like it has to be on bill, so you don't have 2 separate bills. So I don't know if that's coming through yet.
What's the effective date?
Yeah, it looks like it's still in legislation. It's still. in
What was the number
consideration.
again?
It was signed into law in May.
SB 24, you said?
SB 24.
Oh, yeah, passed on May 22nd.
So
Okay.
after January 1st, 2026, but before February 1st is the first
Okay.
like when the first quota is due to be delivered. So those, like a community solar project is like a 3 to 18 month installation. So folks are probably starting to push this, but
and I haven't had a chance to read this whole thing yet, and I will, but the,
Do we still have somebody attending the CC4CA meetings?
Yes, they're on my calendar. I think I
And they're
forwarded them to you, but I'm
gonna
not
go to her.
positive.
We
Yeah,
might need
Cool.
to check on that,
Yeah.
yeah.
we've been kind of like transitioning things over and as they pop up, so.
Perfect. Cause that'll come up probably with CC4CA, if there's movement on it. There's been a lot of things we've pushed for, that we've recommended the BOT stand up and sign that, yes, we're in support of this bill or whatever, that have died in committee on the renewable energy front. But we keep trying, and CC4CA, I think, is our best opportunity to get something across, because it's all sorts of cities combined together pushing for these things.
Mhm.
Okay, so we are on to board elections. We need to nominate and elect our 2 co-chairs and a secretary.
Does everybody understand the roles of what is responsible, what you're responsible for in each of those roles? Is that something you want to talk about a little bit, or?
Sure. So as chairs, you're responsible for setting the agenda. And then I think unofficially responsible for just kind of closing the loops and making sure things are followed up on, put back on the agenda. If we haven't talked about them in a while, we need to follow up, etc. And then another thing that I kind of do, and I don't do it well or nearly to the best of my ability, is kind of maintain a handle on the SAB Google Drive and how that's organized and what's in there. And then secretary is in charge of taking the minutes and the roll and making also a track of if there is somebody who is regularly not attending meetings and it's becoming an issue with quorum, the secretary would be the person that's tracking that.
We don't have an alternate right now, right?
Correct.
Is that something we're looking for to fill?
Yes, let all your friends know that we
Okay.
have an open
So we
spot
can tell
on
Macy.
SAB.
Mhm.
To post it, so we'll post it like
Okay.
on all the places too.
I thought it was already posted.
I think
We'll
it,
check, yeah.
It was supposed to be posted in like June.
it might have been, oh, I do know this. It was posted and there was no
There was no
response,
applicant.
so we need
Yeah.
to repost it.
Oh, so it wasn't just like left up and then a new date.
There was a
changed.
woman who
Okay.
wanted to be on planning commission though, and did express some interest in doing
that
this,
maybe?
so we can.
Okay.
reach out to her.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be.
I actually talked to her too and told her to apply for that position as well.
Recruit. I'm also not sure, I'm sure what everybody's terms are, because really we're supposed to be electing in July, which is after everybody's seated in June. So I think I'm only on till June of next year until I get reappointed. Like I'm up
On the
for
SAP.
reappointment in June of 2025, I believe.
The website says 2027.
Maybe I re-upped and I forgot. Maybe
Why
I
not-
did
why
that
not?
last year.
You are 20. no.
Did they vote on me in June?
You
Were
are
you here in June?
2025.
Okay.
They did.
Do
I
we have the
don't know.
minutes from that meeting?
We can look back. That probably makes sense because that's when they were trying to fill that other positions. They probably did reappoint.
I know, I just usually attend the meeting. I don't remember going.
Jack and Rich are June of 2025. You and I are June of 2027. Patricia's June of 2025.
But aren't they 2
Brad is
years?
2026.
Maybe you were reappointed without knowing it. No, that would still be 2026, wouldn't it?
Actually, that's right. I thought they were 2 years and I just did mine this summer. So it should be, mine should be 2026.
Nobody should be 2027 because
Yeah.
that's too far in the
It
future.
said 3 years on your bylaw.
Oh, then maybe it is 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for looking up the terms. That was my question.
We also need to update the website with our sustainability coordinator because it says vacant.
I'll talk to Peter about that, yeah.
So regarding offices,
Does anybody have any nominations for co-chair?
I nominate you for a co-chair. And I don't know that someone has to be nominated. I think someone can just put themselves up for it.
Yes.
Absolutely, you can nominate yourself. We're all for that here.
And I will nominate myself to volunteer to be co-chair again.
Anybody else interested in being co-chair? Don't be shy. All right. I guess we'll vote on co-chairs. Do we want to vote on us separately so we can vote for each other? I think we have to, because
Yeah, I think it has.
we have to split them up. We can't do them together. Okay. So I move to appoint Rich as a co-chair of the SAB.
Seconded.
And I will call a vote. Ty,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Maddie,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
I think I can vote, right? Yes,
On yourself?
sure, why not? I mean,
I think
you know,
you have to abstain from voting
Trump
on
and
yourself.
Harris are voting for themselves.
No,
I was
think you have
always
to
told you're
abstain.
supposed to vote for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what?
All right, then I abstain. Okay.
Sounds like a unanimous vote.
Okay.
Okay, and so he nominated me, so somebody's gotta make a motion.
I make a motion
I'm not gonna make a motion myself.
that we elect Melody as co-chair, the first co-chair,
Second.
Co-chair.
first among equals.
I'll second that again.
And we'll call a vote.
Yes.
Jack,
Jack says yes.
Ty,
I says yes.
Maddie,
Yes.
and I abstain.
All right.
So now we need a secretary. You were doing a lovely job, Maddie, but I don't know how much you want to keep doing it.
I can keep doing it. Someday I'll figure out how to use AI for it.
Let's-
Get better.
People were using AI before.
Are we allowed to use AI?
Yes.
Yeah,
Great.
Your meetings
Nicole
are
was
also
using it.
I,
recorded, so there is a little bit of flexibility there too
Yeah.
about how this works, so.
I had tried to use the recordings with AI. The videos are too long.
Yeah.
To use any tool, but Nicole had a tool, but you had to pay for it and I struggled.
Even on Teams, did you use it on Teams?
Our meetings weren't in Teams until just,
Yeah.
Okay, well,
We
we
were on
could try
that.
this Teams version.
as long as this Teams version has, we can use Copilot, this current
Oh,
version.
that'll make it
Like,
easier.
like my access to that though might be limited as a non-town
Right,
employee.
I might need to send it to you. Okay.
Yeah,
So are you putting yourself
So I can-
forward?
I can continue to.
I made the motion that we appoint Maddie as the secretary of SAB.
The extent it needs to be seconded, I second.
We will call it up. Rich,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Ty,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. All those are unanimous. So now we need to talk about our November and December meeting dates. Next month is clearly Thanksgiving, so we cannot meet on Thursday. Is there any dates that don't work from town's perspective for us to?
Yeah, there's some meetings already happening. Right, so.
I think that we should consider that whole week off limits, the way people are on use Thanksgiving, but
Mhm.
that's just my thought.
Agreed.
So the week of November 18th, which is the Monday, there's meetings on the 19th and the 21st. The week before that, there's no meetings on the 12th or the 14th, which are the Tuesday and Thursday.
14th? People can do it?
We have to be in the state to attend.
No, just on
Yeah.
the planet somewhere.
Just within
Really?
Microsoft Teams' reach.
Okay.
And you,
Mhm.
I
I'll
bet
actually
you
be
can't
in
access
sustainability
it from China.
conference that
If-
week. Oh, which is exciting.
With a VPN maybe.
I should be
Yeah,
able to
you
make
need
it.
to-
It'll just be East Coast time, so it'll be super late.
Yeah, I think the 14th.
Yeah,
works for me
okay.
too. Anybody object to the 14th?
I'll let you all know if something comes up and I can't be there, but maybe quorum will be met otherwise.
Yeah, well, Mace will take quorum in 2 weeks. Or Cassidy. I don't know if it's moved on
Oh,
to
yeah,
her,
true.
her job now. I don't know how it works.
I'll figure it out.
So November 14th, 6:45.
Mhm.
Okay. And December, our regular meeting date would be the day after Christmas.
Also the first day of Hanukkah.
Google Calendar doesn't tell me that.
Apple Calendar
They're
tells me
biased.
that.
So we probably don't want to
Of
have
course,
it on
Apple Calendar.
Christmas Eve. The other options would be December 10th and December 12th, which is a Tuesday and Thursday. And then
The Tuesdays.
What about the 18th, a Wednesday?
that doesn't have
there-
any meetings.
Yeah,
So would that be?
That's probably better, just in case.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Which day?
December
December
18th.
18th, Wednesday. Oh, I might have. That might be when the kids' concert is.
Didn't we just cancel the December meeting last year?
I don't know, but we had 3 meetings that we didn't have this year.
That's true, that's true.
You guys got the summer off.
Mhm.
I mean, if there's gonna be at least 4 others of you there, you can meet without me.
True,
We have a co-chair that can run the
that's
meeting.
true. All right, December 18th,
Yeah,
okay.
let's just
Do
do
we
it.
have other 4?
I might be able to hop on at like 7:30 when it's done.
Okay,
Unless somebody has a better date in December.
we can't do the 19th, huh?
I think that's when ProSab meets, right?
Oh,
Mhm.
okay,
Or there's something happening that day.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, ProSab. And then the 17th is EOT.
Budget hearing.
okay. I think
Okay.
we're gonna do the 18th, and if we don't have a quorum, we will figure that out.
Great.
Is there a way to try and, especially if we're doing it earlier in the month, is there a way where if we don't have a quorum on that day, we can try and still get that meeting in?
Well, we can't do the meeting without the quorum, so,
Yes.
so no, the answer is no. We
Okay.
can change the date, but, and we don't really need a quorum to change the date. I think Melanie or I can just sort of do that as the chairs, but, what we really need to get back to doing though is responding
Yeah.
when the call goes out to, are you
Yeah.
attending or not? And then,
Yes.
look, things come up, we get that, but, and then if there's no quorum, we know we can cancel the meeting.
Is there something prohibitive? Like, I know sometimes for me, if Macy texts me at like 10:30 AM, I'm full in work mode, I'm at my job, and then I see her text, but I don't have time to respond, and then the end of the day, I totally forgot that she even texted me that morning. You know, is there something we could change about how they reach out to where it's easier for us to respond?
I'm gonna be the one reaching out to you from
Okay.
now on, so, yeah, I can do it however
Are you
works
gonna be
best.
doing it from an iPhone?
No,
Never mind that.
Very green bubble.
Well, no, there's this new thing that they have on the iPhone where you can like delay sending the text to a specific time.
I think I might be able to do that on, Android as
Yeah,
well.
so I mean, if you could just say,
Set
somebody
it.
sees it, what time would be good?
Oh, I always respond.
You
So
always
I'm-
respond.
I'm
Oh,
just-
okay.
I'm just bringing up an example to try to get anybody else to say maybe why they're not responding, because when I talk to Macy, I know that myself and one other person respond
I
pretty much
always
all the
respond.
time. And that everybody else is hit or miss, and no judgment. It's,
Mhm.
so I'm just trying to.
I'm sitting here thinking, I
Just
must
make
respond
it
all the
easier.
Right. Would,
I
would
respond
email
usually
be?
within like a minute.
Yeah,
Mine's either a couple hours or like 2 days later.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, I could send a reminder text.
Why don't you do a text, like the normal amount before, a few days, and then a reminder text the day of? What do you think?
The day of what?
The day of the meeting,
Day
Yeah,
of
but
is too late to.
The other
know.
thing is,
Well, no, you already know, but a reminder of like, hey, just to confirm type thing, maybe.
I feel like the agenda kind of does that.
You know, you're
If
right,
The
it does.
agenda's in the morning or the
You're-
day
And
before.
You're right.
Oh, you want it, okay, because we were actually talking about sending the agenda sooner so you can review it earlier, but I
That
mean,
works too.
I can
yeah.
also send a reminder email like the morning of, if that is helpful for everyone.
I mean, I don't need it, but if some people might.
I think agenda, like sometime in that week is good, so we can review
Yeah.
it.
Couple of days
Yeah.
would be.
Mhm.
we try to get it
I
out
always have it on
like
my
the
calendar.
Friday before.
Yeah.
Is what the goal is, but we really want to get it out the Wednesday before, but that's just a lot of coordinating on our part, but at least the Friday before.
All that sounds lovely.
And I tend not to work on Fridays,
Okay.
so
It'll be a Thursday.
it would be a Thursday.
That's fine.
So
Yeah.
7 days before the
Okay.
meeting.
I always get the text and then I'm like, oh, it's tonight. And then I look at it and I'm like, that's not tonight.
Mm.
Should we adjourn?
Turned at eight
Yes, sir.
53.
All right.
8:53.
So can
Thank
I
you all.
bring up a very silly and has nothing to do
Bye,
with
Ty.
committee?
Oh,
For my.
okay.
I
one of
mean, you don't have to get off.
City,
I'm just saying,
plastic barrels that I guess had grit in them or something, so the idea, I guess, was if people got stuck, they could like go
And the road.
sand the road or something. I've never actually seen it used, but, it's an eyesore, so I really thought it was ugly, but at any rate, the city took it away, the town took it away. I'm totally happy about that. But they left the little yellow scoop right there, so it's almost like they littered a yellow scoop, and I would just go and like take it and like throw it or whatever, but I don't want to be accused of like stealing the town's little yellow scoop.
Where is it?
It's like at the corner of Navajo Trail and Sundown Trail.
Got it.
Not surprise me at all.
Well, it's probably because that road is for Navajo, right? Or some, wait, which one is the steep one?
That's Navajo.
Okay, so
It's a little, and it's like, it's on the,
do you want a nicer barrel that doesn't look ugly so you can still?
I don't need a barrel at all. I don't think anyone's ever used that barrel.
Okay,
In fact, the barrel used to be on the other side of the street, on my side of the street. And then as soon as the first snow came, it would just get buried by the snowplow and stay buried until the snow was gone in the spring. And, so no one could ever use it because it was always buried. So I said to Miranda, I said, you know, this thing gets, et cetera, et cetera. And so she moved to the other side of the street, to the north side of the street. So at the north side of the street, and it might be hard to find little yellow, you know, scoop.
well, I need to drive up there anyway, so I'll come look at it and find it, and then, we are, just so you know, I am having the staff work on the snow, like level of service for
Yeah.
snow removal. So that'll be coming out too, because we're working on trying to make that